Il primo contributo è un contributo internazionale, proviene da Australia, è stato realizzato grazie all'intraprendenza di Cristina, che ha contattato la sua collega Adriane Boag del National Gallery of Australia di Canberra, e che ora ci presenterà il suo contributo. Grazie.
Okay. So we thought about developing a program. It was during lockdown, and the first event that we ran was probably in maybe November or December last year. So we haven't run very many, except that the program is once a month, and it's on a kind of a day which is called Sensory Sunday. So it's on the first Sunday of every month, and it starts at 8:30 in the morning and it goes to 10 a.m., which is the time before the gallery opens its doors. In all of the access programs that I run at the gallery, I really rely on strong partnerships in the community. And for this program, I consulted with a number of people around how best to, what we needed to do and how best to promote it. And there is one organization in the ACT called Mary Mead, which is a sort of a charity which supports families and younger children on the autism spectrum. In the ACT, we also have quite a strong adult advocate for people on the autism spectrum and with social anxiety, and that person has also assisted me. So we had a bit of a break. We ran it maybe it was November, December, and then the first one this year was in February. So I think in total we must have only done three or maybe 4 programs. It might be 4. One of the things that was, became really important was developing the social story. So providing a guide to people before they visited about what to expect at the gallery. But and I've found that is a huge amount of work, because our gallery is so large, and each of these Sundays I focus on a different part of the collection. It's important that each month I adjust that social story to reflect what's going to happen that month, which means photographs, compiling it. It's just, in terms of all the other work that I have to do, it's just quite I think it's quite a demanding task in a way, about how to make sure that you write that. Also consult adequately with, to get feedback before you print it or put it on the website. So far that those social stories have not gone onto the gallery's website. But just in this probably the last 2 sessions, so maybe the one in December and the one just in February, we really had very few small young children. So the first 2 we did, we had lots of young children. And then after that, we had almost all teenagers. And I'm just thinking now maybe of redirecting the focus of the program actually for teenagers and young adults. So we're thinking of including both people on the autism spectrum and people with social anxiety. One of the things that we have discovered, like, it hasn't been, we've had probably the most people we've had arrive is 12. So very small numbers. But of course, the gallery is a really large place, and on the first session we ran, one woman came in the door. She was already waiting outside before the gallery opened. She came in, she came up the escalator, she got to the top, and she was so freaked out by there being no people around, and it was so quiet, that she said, "I'm really uncomfortable here. I'm going straight away." So she just went straight back out. Another family arrived with a child, and they had to walk across a sort of elevated walkway with quite a shiny floor. The child was very distressed by the floor. They went straight to the other end of the gallery in the lift, down and out the door. So, so those were some of the things that were, so unexpected. So we didn't even get past really the first base with those people. But I have made contact with somebody, a young man who goes to a local school to support students on the spectrum. And I've been working with him quite a lot. And just the people who've been turning up more recently, the feedback that they're giving me is that there's far more for children and families than there is for teens and young adults. And I wonder if that audience, in a way, it fits with other programs we run for youth. And I'm wondering if that's probably a good place to sort of reposition the program. We have 3 or 4 staff members, a voluntary guide, and I have a sort of artist educator who offers quite sort of informal, but I suppose high quality teaching. So perhaps we might have an exercise which is around portraiture or some kind of drawing with easels set up, and people can just drop in as they want to. But this person who is an art teacher will give each of those people quite like instructions if they require it, if that's what they want. One of the things that we've found is that it's really important when people arrive that whatever the activities are, people are already doing it. So the staff, I always make the staff sit there and draw, or they're occupied. They're not just waiting to talk. And then people are allowed to wander around the gallery, quite big spaces, and then they can come and sit down in these various places where there is an activity set up. And usually I would have 3 different activities for people to do. Okay, so this is so you can see that this is just some information really for parents about that Sensory Sunday is a free monthly program. We wrote people with social anxiety or people who are neurodiverse. I don't know if you are having that language changing. So less about autism spectrum and more about being neurodiverse. So I think that in that sort of disability sector, there can be a lot of sort of anxiety about visiting the gallery. So that being able to do it at your own pace and at a quieter time is quite, appealing. Then the second page is about parking and what is available at the gallery, like a parent's room, accessible toilet, noise cancelling headphones, things like that. And then this says this story will tell you about visiting the gallery for Sensory Sunday. Before I go to the gallery, I can look on the website to see what is on display. So, you know, just that story. This is, I will learn the gallery rules. I will walk. I will talk quietly. I'll remember not to touch. I cannot wear my backpack. If I need a quiet space, I can visit the parents' room. I can also eat food and drink water in the parents and family room. Security guards and staff are here to help. Sometimes they will tell you what to do. Everyone who works at the gallery looks after works of art and visitors as part of their job, and then you have fun. So this is obviously for parents to, you know, talk with their children. And then some photographs, welcome to the gallery. And then, you know, we will greet you in the foyer when you arrive. There is an escalator and a lift to take you upstairs. There are toilets, accessible toilets. The staff will direct you. The staff can tell you stories about any of the works of art and answer questions. The staff can listen to your ideas about the works of art. And then for this social story, it was like, today you can look at all the works of art made by artists who identify as Aboriginal and works of art made by artists from the Torres Strait Islands. And this is where we had this is the difficult space. It says, as you walk along the corridor, which is like a bridge, you can look down on one side at the front desk or up on the other side at a huge sculpture suspended over the foyer. And then you can see, that's quite a small photo, but you can see here that this is a very high space. And this was a space that this little kid was just like, no, I can't stand it. Anyway, and this was just showing, you know, that there are 10 galleries. There are some activities you can try. You can sit on the floor, or you can sit on a stool, you know, things like that. You can draw the patterns from the bark paintings. But then here was this photograph below was really important. The small rooms look dark from the outside. The lights will come on when you walk in. And this is because there are lots of works of art which are on paper. And then in the consultation, it was decided that this is mask. The mask is big and made of hair, feathers, and shells. It might take a bit of time before you feel comfortable looking at it. In the Torres Strait Islands, masks are worn by dancers when they're telling stories about their land and their people. And then this bottom one, the labels provide information about the artist and the name of the work. There are works of art that may seem scary. This could be because the photographs are dark and have large red writing over them. There are works of art that are relaxing. This is a video by the artist Daniel Boyd. Watch it for a while to see how it changes. So, and then it says, I can walk back the way I arrived or take the steps down to the entrance and outside. There are staff to help me. Please let us know how you enjoyed your visit to the National Gallery of Australia today. And then, yep, that's the end. I do have another one, but I have one also for school groups, which has been kind of designed and is much more flash looking than my one, but that's because they've just made one which is for all school groups, you know, for all the time. But I just can't. This is the one that is designed. So this is on our website. So this is for the education social story, which I also put together. And you can see how much more flash this looks, but that's because they don't have to change it all the time. So this is just a photograph of the gallery from the outside. And my class and I are visiting the National Gallery of Australia. We will go there by bus, you know, those kinds of things. We will walk past the outside cafe to the entrance. Our guide will show us where to store our bags, and then these sort of symbols. We will use the escalator to go up into the galleries. And then this work of art, which is no longer here, so that this needs to be changed already. And then this is just like, there are different types of art. And this is this bridge I keep telling you about. And then this is again about the dark gallery. Sometimes a work of art can be very bright, sometimes confusing. When we look at works of art like this, our guide will help us, will ask us how we are feeling. As we walk around the gallery, we will see staff who make sure the art is safe and that people do not touch it or get too close. They are friendly. Sometimes. When we stop at each work of art, our guide will ask us questions. We will talk about what we can see and what it makes us think about. We might also do an activity such as drawing or visit the studio for a workshop. The time will go past quickly. When we have finished our tour, our guide will take us back to the entrance. We will collect our bags and use the bathroom. We have been creative and had a lot of fun looking at art. Now we can say goodbye. We can visit again. And then that you could go into the sculpture garden, and that you'll go back on the bus. And when we go home, we'll tell our families about what we did at the gallery. Yeah. So those are sort of two different examples, yes, of the of different social stories. Yeah.
I have a question about the class.
Yeah.
There were really a few with the educator. So do you divide the class in more groups?
Yes, in small groups. That was a very small group. And the reason that that group was so small is because we invited all of those children to come in specially to take those photos.
Okay.
So that was not a real school group.
Okay.
That were the children of lots of people who work in the gallery.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
We do the same.
Yeah, but normally it would be, I think with a, it would be probably maybe for younger children, it would be maybe 10 or 12 at the most. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a group.
Okay,
yeah.
So the class comes to the museum and you divide into more
smaller
or less
groups.
Yes, smaller group, each group with an educator.
Yes.
So you provide, for instance, you provide 3 educators for one class.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
This is happen with all the class or only the class with people with autism or with disabilities?
No, this happens with all the classes. So we also have a huge body of voluntary guides, and they take a lot of the school groups which are in primary school. So, from 12 years and down. And sometimes we might have 6, it might be a big group. You might have 6 guides on that group. Usually if the school lets us know that we have somebody, on the autism spectrum, then we might actually make one smaller group so that student could have more support. So we might only have, say, 6 in a class with that student.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's the same if we had a student with a disability, say one with low vision, then we would be able to organize maybe a touch tour with a smaller group, maybe 4 or 6 students and just that student as well.
Okay. And the program for people on the autism spectrum is is that a group activity, or are they always free to do what they want?
Yes, they're always free to do whatever they want.
So you
Yeah.
don't try to keep them together and do the same?
No,
Never.
no. We haven't got to that point yet. We set up a table with the activity so that a group could sit around if they wanted to, but we haven't had a group book into that. So that Sunday program, the Sunday morning program, is mostly just like family members. It hasn't been like if it was a high school with a group of people on the autism spectrum, then yes, we would do it like a school group and as one group and keep them together. But the Sensory Sunday program, which is every month, is just like come and do whatever you want. We'll talk to you if you want. We'll draw with you if you want. We'll make if you want, or you can just wander around. Sometimes people just wander around and they just say hello, like, hello, and then they don't engage at all.
And is this choice, does this choice come from a discussion with the how can I say?
Oh yeah, the participants, or is it from consultation?
Yes.
No. So we in Canberra, there's a number of other institutions who also run these mornings, and I've gone, well, actually it was consultation. We did talk, and this was the advice that we were given to, this is what some of the other institutions do. And it's interesting that you asked that question, because one day a young girl came along and she was looking for a class where everyone was together. But we just didn't have enough people. So I think that if we had 20 people, then, you could have more of a group, and perhaps there could be more social opportunities. When we've had a couple of teenagers, you might have had 3 or 4 teenagers staying together because they already knew each other before they arrived. But maybe the difference is because it's the weekend, and so everybody's coming with their family. And it's not, if we did the program in the studio and we said arrive at this time, like arrive at 9 o'clock, and we'll do this till 10:30, and we'll all do this together, yes, then that would be really different. But we have the gallery open, and there's multiple galleries. So you can't even see everybody at the same time. So they're just wandering around, and they might sit in this space, and then they go and sit in another area. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye now. But yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.